Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ralph Becker, the mayor of Salt Lake City, and we're here today to talk about our Rio Grande solutions, our collaborative efforts that are going on in this area around the Rio Grande, old Rio Grande Depot, Pioneer Park area. And I'll be joined by several speakers, and I'll announce them in a minute. But thank you all for joining us here. Throughout the country, urban centers are facing great challenges, and particularly great challenges surrounding homelessness. We're struggling to meet the needs of those affected by economics, by homelessness, by substance abuse, and by mental illness. Salt Lake City is no different. When I have an opportunity to talk to other mayors and other city officials and to look at the news from around the country, the issues we face around homelessness and substance abuse and mental illness are occurring everywhere across the country. In our city, we tend to be the focal point for the social services to help provide for many throughout the region who are in need. We're fortunate to have greatly committed community service providers who dedicate their time and the skills of people from within our city and from outside our city. A concentration of these social services are located right here in the Rio Grande Depot district. Unfortunately, the gathering of people in need and social services also provides an opportunity for predators and drug dealers to take advantage of the vulnerability of those in need. We have seen the negative effects of this convergence of activities and people. There is no single solution to these challenges that are part of our urban environment, like every major urban environment across the country. The most effective and appropriate approach is one that is collaborative in nature and focused on the root causes. Connecting people in need with services and a path to rehabilitation, permanent housing, employment, and health care, while simultaneously addressing the criminal element and physical challenges that have emerged, is the base from which our city and our partners are working. We're undertaking efforts from many different angles. And several of these are going to be talked about in some more detail by the speakers who follow me here. We're making some changes here in the 500 West median that's next to us here to improve the public safety on that median and still provide a nice park space. We're installing portable restroom facilities. We are continuing with undercover police operations. And today I'm pleased to introduce you to Liz Bueller, who will serve as a full-time Rio Grande liaison to this area. Liz, why don't you introduce yourself, wave to folks. I thank the Redevelopment Agency and the City Council for helping us fund this position. We have, and you see these folks behind us, a clean team that is going to be continuously working in this area. You'll be hearing about our new downtown ambassadors. There are service providers who are making many efforts as well, and that includes opening the shelter during the day and tightening security at state visits, and I appreciate the cooperation and further extension of effort by those folks. The state agencies who are housed in the Rio Grande building are working with the city to evaluate and test various pedestrian traffic routes. And Julie Fisher, I don't believe, is with us today, who's head of the Department of Cultural Affairs for the state and Heritage and Arts, has been working closely with us. You'll be hearing from the city prosecutor, who has been working with the district attorney relating to getting victim statements and how sentencing is being handled and will be handled. And we'll be implementing some new parking strategy and enforcing time limits on Rio Grande and 500 West. So, as I mentioned earlier, addressing the issues associated with the Rio Grande Depot District is not a simple and single solution. It really involves the combined efforts of many, many people if we're going to be effective. And of course, that is a primary goal of us. So today, we're going to be hearing from some folks, and I'll just list them, and then they'll be coming up in order. Police Chief Chris Burbank, City Prosecutor Padmaviro Collings, Kathy Bray, who's the head of Volunteers of America, Nick Como of the Downtown Alliance, and a business owner, Josh Fisher. Chief Burbank.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Time and time again, we in society make the mistake that the problem in and around this area is one of homelessness, which is absolutely not the case. We also make the mistake of saying that it is a problem for the police to solve. Now, certainly we play a role, but the focus is not on individuals suffering from homelessness. In fact, these individuals have every right to be in our community as anyone else. And in fact, we welcome them into Salt Lake City and the diversity that they bring. Our focus has been and will continue to be those individuals that are committing crime. In fact, the fallacy that we have is that it's the homeless population that's committing crime. No, in fact, it's the homeless population that is time and time again victimized by those individuals who are coming down here with the intent to sell narcotics, to engage in other criminal activity, including robberies, burglaries, car prowls, those types of things that prey upon all of us in society. We would never want to alienate the very people, those individuals suffering from homelessness who come down here to utilize the services, from coming forward and giving us information and sharing with us about what's going on. Just like in any of your neighborhoods, no one knows better what the norm is in a neighborhood, what should be going on the street, than those people who are actually here engaged and have a vested interest. We need to ensure that everyone has a vested interest in the well-being of this neighborhood as well as throughout Salt Lake City. I welcome the participation of all the service providers because they, in fact, make us better. One of the things that I'm most proud of is the cooperation that we have with the service providers in the area, that time and time again they come together and say, we are not going to tolerate criminal activity in the area. In fact, we are going to do all we can to ensure that the good people that are coming here for services have access to those services without falling victim to criminals. Again, the police department is proud to participate, and this is when we work best, is when we are in fact in partnership with individuals as opposed to working separately. So, sincerely, I appreciate all the help and concern of everyone involved, including the media, to televise this appropriately, to provide information to the public so that they know. As you look at some of the statistics that we've handed out, those individuals that we arrest for participating in drug activity in and around the area come from all walks of life, come from all areas of not only Salt Lake County, but throughout the state. We need to change that behavior and make sure that people know this is not the place to come to commit crimes, and you are not welcome here if you are in fact going to engage in narcotics activity. So again, thank you very much, and I think Padma, you're next.
Good morning, my name is Padmaviro Collings and I'm the Chief Salt Lake City Prosecutor. And my office is focused on community-based prosecution. And it's extremely important to us that we support the mayor's and the city council's goal that Salt Lake City is a livable and safe community. And to that end, when we became aware of the issue here in the Rio Grande Pioneer Park area, my office responded by coming down and doing a street level, trying to get a street level experience. And all of our prosecutors came down. We met with the businesses here. We met with business owners, and we asked business owners to please provide to us a victim impact statement so that we could use those in court. We continue to meet with business owners. We encourage them to come to court so that they can share their stories and the impact it is on their business. Some of the other things that my office has done is we've actually initiated address-focused case review. We've also increased the number of prosecutors that we're sending to arraignment, so each of them can look at the cases closely and make sure that we make appropriate resolutions, because these resolutions impact our community. We've also worked with the County Department of Human Services, specifically with Tim Whalen, who assists us in identifying individuals who are severely and persistently mentally ill. And once they are identified, we request that if this person is incarcerated, to be transported through the Alternatives to Incarceration program, because we want to ensure that there's meaningful intervention and they're receiving the services that they need. We've also looked for the root causes of the crime and tried to intervene effectively. So if it's a drug-based issue, then we certainly want to make sure that the intervention is for substance abuse intervention of some sort. We've participated in the homeless outreach service team. We've also made available the MAP, which is the Magistrate Appearances Program. In essence, if a police officer comes in contact with an individual and believes that immediate intervention is appropriate, then he or she has the opportunity of bringing that person directly before a magistrate. Additionally, some of the other things that my office is considering, and it continues to do, is to increase the number of our filings in district court so that we can file it at a high category of offense and have the individuals on probation for longer periods of time, so that we can also further intervene in another meaningful manner. And I appreciate the opportunity that we have of working with service providers, because they give us an insight that as prosecutors sometimes we're so focused on specific outcomes that we fail to see the larger picture. And so we welcome our opportunity to partner with the service-based providers. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Kathy Bray. I'm the President and CEO for Volunteers of America, and I'm representing the service providers today. The service providers are very committed to doing what we can do to help with the issues on Rio Grande Street. We are primarily concerned about the safety of individuals and families who find themselves homeless and are in need of shelter and food and some basic services to move out of homelessness. Over the years, the service providers have built a continuum of care, and we are continuing to be committed to that and are adding additional efforts in problem solving related to this project. We want to thank the police department in particular for working so closely with us. Our street outreach efforts, for example, continue. We have been doing them for years. And most recently, we have added the Homeless Outreach Services team in collaboration with the City Police Department, and just recently started Wednesdays outreach over at Pioneer Park out of the Mobile Command Unit, where service providers are there along with police to help address needs, make sure criminal activity is addressed properly, and then the service providers are linking people, providing access to services immediately. We can bring them to the 4th Street Clinic, we can bring them to the detoxification services, we can help them access emergency shelter, tell them where to get food, and those are things we've done for many years successfully, and now we're looking out for the safety of people who are homeless in this area. Also, the emergency shelter, as the mayor mentioned, is opening during the day to provide that alternative safe location to be as other activity is being handled on Rio Grande Street by the police. Also, food. We want to make sure people have access to food, and St. Vincent de Paul Catholic Community Services has added additional staff to make sure of safety and security as people find lunch and food for dinner. Housing continues to be the focus of the service providers. We are doing our very best to move homeless people into housing as rapidly as possible. Families are accessing through rapid rehousing efforts. We are also still continuing our Housing First strategy for chronically homeless individuals, and we will continue to do our best there, providing case management support so that people in apartments can stay out there successfully. And we started a new support group recently for homeless individuals following the 12-step recovery model that is proving to be successful. We want to thank everyone for their efforts. The service providers are committed to do whatever we can to meet the basic needs of individuals who are homeless and to move them back out into the community successfully into housing as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, my name is Nick Como. I work with the Downtown Alliance. Salt Lake City has a long tradition as a community that welcomes with open arms. A great example of that is the Olympic Games. And that spirit of accommodation continues with the Downtown Ambassador Program. The friendliness Utahns are known for can be seen on nearly every street corner, or as many as the first 27 volunteers can cover, in a bright yellow vest. The goal of this Volunteer Ambassador Program is to provide visitors with basic things, such as directions to one of our wonderful art museums or performance theaters. They'll be hitting the streets this week. We've done extensive market research that shows residents of the Valley and beyond may only visit downtown 1 or 2 or 3 times a year. And a lot changes in that amount of time in a city that is building and rising. So, when visitors come from across the state and region to visit downtown for events like a general conference, it may be one of only a handful of times that they're experiencing their downtown. And we want these families to appreciate all that their capital city has to offer. The same can be said for locals looking to go to a jazz game and find this new hot restaurant that just opened. And thanks to the collaborative training provided by the experts at Visit Salt Lake, the Downtown Alliance and our other partners, these ambassadors will have their fingers on the pulse of all that is new and exciting in this city. The volunteers will be trained with the history of downtown Salt Lake, its retail establishments, attractions, city transportation, parking options, and more. They also provide assistance with the Green Bike program, parking meters, and are knowledgeable about all other parking options downtown. In general, if someone has a question, the ambassador is the person to ask. The ambassadors will also make an effort to keep the downtown area safe and be prepared to be of assistance in case of an emergency. They can also report any illegal activity or suspicious behavior that they witness to SLCPD. And advanced level ambassadors will receive additional safety and homeless outreach training. Launching in conjunction with the ambassador program is the Clean Team. The goal of this is to focus on the historic area that we stand in today to keep our streets between Pioneer Park and the Intermodal Hub as litter-free as possible. This effort is another shining example of the business community, public and private sector partnerships. The city, Downtown Alliance, and Valley Services raise funding from local financial institutions to hire, train, and manage 10 individuals from our homeless and mental illness community to literally clean up our streets. On their first day, these hardworking folks filled an entire dumpster. And there is more to come as they hire more workers and the city installs permanent trash cans throughout the area. This is a positive project for these individuals who can enjoy being employed in a way that builds pride in their community. The Clean Team provides job skills training, opportunities for advancement, or other job placement. And the impact can be seen immediately when you visit this part of our city, and it can be felt by businesses in the area as well. For a first-hand account, we'll turn to Josh Fisher.
Hi, my name is Josh Fisher. I own and operate a pretty small business on the 500 West block at 200 South. And we've been in the area for about 6 years, so it's not a surprise to us that it's always been a challenged neighborhood. But we definitely noticed things kind of reached terminal capacity this spring. I mean, litter got out of hand, and crime was just kind of it seemed to be more blatant throughout the day and just broad daylight hours. So we've noticed a significant uptick and change since the efforts of the Downtown Alliance and the Valley Services team and the police. Everybody has been on it, which is great. So it's a very big, multifaceted problem, but we're seeing a change pretty significantly, pretty quickly, which I was surprised about. So we're really happy to see it. I mean, the area is a place that I used to clean up on my own. Every 2 weeks to a month, I'd get out and pick up all the trash. And again, like I said, this spring, it just kind of hit terminal capacity. I couldn't even keep up with it anymore and kind of gave up. So we were really happy to see the Valley Services team out cleaning up a couple weeks ago. And it's been much better ever since. So ultimately, for me, as a business owner, I'm very happy to see it because it has to do with the safety of the neighborhood and whether I can keep my business here or have to try and relocate it somewhere else in the valley. So we're really, really happy to see the efforts on it and hope it continues. So back to Mayor Becker, I believe.
Thank you to everybody who has been working so hard and will be working even harder and with a broader reach than we've had in the past. I want to acknowledge that we have folks who have been living in and doing business in this area for a long time. I noticed, for example, we've got Pete Henderson here, the Rio Grande Cafe, who I know has struggled with these issues for decades, literally decades. We have Christian Harrison, who's head of the Downtown Community Council, which really works with all of the residents in the area and both keeps us informed, but also is helping not only give us ideas and sometimes complaints, but really helping us focus our efforts to be as effective as we possibly can. Today I also want to announce that we are forming a new Salt Lake Solutions effort that will be focused on the Rio Grande district. This effort, which will be in a way a continuation or picking back up of an effort that we started in my first year in office relating to Pioneer Park. And I know a number of you here were involved in that. And we got all of the residents and businesses and organizations, other entities, and our city folks as well as other jurisdictions together to focus on what could be done with Pioneer Park beyond just putting a bunch of money into the park that would make a big difference in the welcoming environment that we wanted to achieve in the park. The folks worked for about 6 to 9 months. They came up with a whole series of suggestions that have then been implemented over time, and I think have been very successful. But in recent months, we have seen a deterioration, I think, of the success of that effort. And you've heard today of a broad range of endeavors that we are doing immediately or have already started. But this, as I mentioned before, is not a short-term issue, and the continued effort and success is not going to involve a short-term approach. So we're launching a Salt Lake Solutions effort. It will be led by the person who handled Pioneer Park for us, who was with city government, has left city government, but is going to come back and help us with this effort, Michelle Strobe. Who is a superb facilitator and person who's able to work through collaborative processes. Will be involving business owners and residents and service owners, the city, the state, and others. And that includes great community activists like Pamela Atkinson, who's with us today. And everyone, we hope, who has a direct interest in this area will help us identify and address long-term solutions. So we're launching really a combination of things today and have been really over the last several weeks and in some cases months. Some of them are short-term, and some of them we hope are going to make an immediate and really dramatic improvement on the conditions for everyone here, whether it's someone who is homeless or whether it is a business owner or a resident or someone who visits our area. I want to thank all of you for joining us today. I want to invite you to participate with your ideas, with your comments on things we should be focusing attention on, and with helping us make the Rio Grande Depot district and this area and this neighborhood a place that is prized for everyone who lives and works and visits here. Thank you.